Good morning and welcome to Moopsy in the Morning for May the 7th, 2025. And Chris is with me here, but Satalia is also kind of sort of always with me because I got up to let the dogs out about 4 this morning, and within like a split second, my phone notification goes off because she had a suggestion for a title for the morning, which we have up. So she's
Oh,
just asking, did Mom ever go
Moopsyverse,
back to sleep?
Quark's looking at.
Pardon?
Yeah, no, I just read
Quark?
the title. It's actually better to remember.
Quark, which one, Moopsyverse or Quark's Lucky Moopsy?
Moopsyverse.
Moopsyverse, yeah. Well, that was also one of her suggestions, I believe.
Yeah, the science theater. Jesus, that
It
was
does not
so
fall
much.
trippingly over the tongue. I was going to do the
No,
Moopsy cinematic universe, but Moopsyverse is much easier. But yes,
Moopsyverse is
Natalia.
easier and wider,
Yes.
broader.
Yeah. I went back to bed right after I let the dogs out. We all cuddled up and went back to bed, and that's why I haven't fed them breakfast yet. They're like, yeah, we'll get around to it. They were outside for a good 15 minutes, just sniffing around, being doggers.
Hmm.
And since I don't have the gym today, I do have to take Loki to the vet first thing this morning. But it's one of those, fine, we'll get up, we'll have a late breakfast, we'll do stuff. Taz was on with us briefly last night, till about midnight his time, then he went to bed.
Well, he was probably sitting up late, tweaking his computer.
Yeah, he sounded really tired, but he said it's working.
No surprise there. Does that
No,
mean the curse is over? The curse is
I
lifted?
don't know. I don't trust it. Maybe. Maybe.
That would be an end to an era.
Yeah, really.
Healing ground, get this thing out of my face. Do you feed Captain's ground? Get this out of my face also.
I have to feed Zinkethi on the ground, which is
Above ground
fine.
battle zone, not gonna happen.
I just have phaser.
Tholian's ground, not gonna happen. This game hates me.
Really?
Herc frigates. Let's
Herc
me
frigates, it's
full
good. We could go
reroll.
do swarm.
Yeah. Better than doing anything ground like ground battle zone. Jesus.
I have harvest materials in space too.
Like I'm playing another online game, called Dead by Daylight quite
Mhm.
frequently, and they've revamped the entirety of their daily mission system,
Mhm.
and I wish STO did something similar.
Well,
These endeavors are sometimes so tiresome. You don't want to do them.
yeah, I think it's time for them to. I don't dislike the idea of the endeavors, but I think it would be nice to have
No,
a
no.
better variety.
But that's the variety and what they require you to do. They're sometimes very specific about very specific type of, I don't know, weapon, enemy type, or enemy class type that you don't encounter easy.
Mhm.
And it requires you to get out of your way to really seek out an opportunity. I mean, that's fine if they want us to, like, I don't know, play around with the content, but it's a little bit too annoyingly specific to really have fun with it. It's just, and when there's always like a daily happening, because I can't remember the last time there wasn't a daily or an event happening
Yeah. No,
at the time. So if you run that on top of those endeavors, you
it's all
really
the
have at least an hour and a half cut out of your life when you're doing not what you want, but what you need to get out of your way.
yeah.
And after that, you sometimes just don't want to feel like engaging with any other content.
It just feels like you're doing the administrative
These are
work and you never get around to
chores.
doing the game.
These are
Yeah,
chores,
that's a
and
good way to
video
put it.
games should not have chores. So I'm really hoping that they can look into that. Look how, I mean, I'm glad they're open to feedback. Like Councillor Suna is quite open to feedback. Like the one that they changed the event, the last event, when doing the daily was a bit too atrocious, and you had to do it twice because you
Yeah.
got only one voucher instead of two for the event. Well, that was really cool that they actually went back and like, okay, they might have sense because it's just taking too long for them, and they revamped that. That was really great. I'm really hoping they'll be
Well, I'd love
into
to say, hey,
that.
we'd like to see a revamp of the endeavors. The concept is good. We've just done the same ones for so long now. Here's a list of ones you could add to it. It just occurred to me you could have, do a specific patrol. All of a sudden, you just opened up like 40 new things. Well,
Yeah,
there's,
especially that there are tons of fun patrols,
yeah,
and you can really do something with them. Especially that, I remember the time when there were no patrols. I mean, patrols were just like you had to travel sector space to run into them, and that was tedious. So giving you option to launch them right from the bat was really great, but they're really underutilized. Because
good,
they're there, but not a lot of is actually required you to engage with them
good morning,
outside
Lexers.
of leveling ship.
Satalia has 10 Undine ships. So Satalia will have to tell us how she wants to deal with her 10 Undine ships. Which, admittedly, we could
Well,
probably go up to the battle zone and knock those out in just a few moments. I want to take a look at something here.
yeah.
Is there anything there? There isn't. There used to be the things like the Aslas Expanse and some clusters where there were things you had to do. But I haven't seen those in a long time. Put it on there. Give me a second. So, Satalia, back to your question, did I go back to sleep? Yes, because once I'm done taking Locate to the vet and come back home, I don't have anything I have to do. It's not a gym day and class isn't until 6 tonight, which is still potentially not going to happen. So we will see.
Oh, you want to eat your breakfast. That's good. Good fluffer.
I wonder if we could add electrical damage to one of the things. Especially for ground, that would be easy enough to do.
The electric. Oh yeah, electric damage for ground.
Yeah.
Sure. Oh my god, you're doing that crazy.
Okay, so there's duty officer assignments only in these star clusters. I was hoping there might be something more to them. Yeah, there's quite a bit you can do with electrical damage. What do I need there? I need some astrometric probes. Oops, no, not that one. Need two of those. Well, we got rid of our astrometric probes. Now that I go and replicate them, is that what you're going to do? No, you've defaulted back to that. There we go. Oh, what we're doing, Lexers, is we're thinking of ways for DECA to expand the endeavors or change them out because they're getting boring and repetitive, and we're all doing the, I'd rather re-roll everything. And the thought was, if we were to come up with a whole list of things, hey, these are things you could add to it just to make it a little bit more varied. That would be great. So yeah, if you want to put together a list of things you would like to see added to the Endeavor list, go for it. And then we can put together a whole bunch of stuff and send it off to, Universal and everything. Why not?
Wonder how they did that.
The Universal is 3 for 13 weeks, so that's only 39 things. And some of them I could live without.
Huh. There's a cool channel, Moving History, on YouTube.
Yeah.
I found a video of them bringing the passengers and the faces of Titanic brought to life just from still pictures.
Oh, that's interesting.
And they're like black and white pictures made of the people that, like, from the captain to like passengers. And they are suddenly just moving like living people. I don't know how they do that.
AI.
That is just no. It doesn't look AI. That's
No,
the
it
thing.
doesn't look AI, but they can do it by AI. I'm not saying they are doing AI.
Just like they really look like they come alive.
I was watching, what was it? A 1 minute um, film biography of Maggie Smith, which was all AI. And it was nicely done, except because it was in a TikTok format layout.
Mm.
And they had captions on it, they had something else on it, they had something else on it, so you couldn't actually see anything.
Oh, that's a shame.
So Talia, they can leave Gravity Kills on it. I'm happy to skip them because I think Gravity Kills usually comes on Wednesday when I'm not around, so I don't care. So I need phaser damage. You need frigates, and Satalia needs unnamed ships. Lexer says for the Universal we could have to deal a small amount of all the unusual damage flavors like psion, ground, or radiation in space and ground. Yeah, exactly. That's why we were talking about electrical. Electrical is another one. I don't know how much psi you can deal in a reasonable amount of time, so that becomes where it's interesting. But so yeah, if it's possible to deal it, let's look at what's possible and give them some realistic options.
Okay, according to YouTube, because they add the label now, sounds and visual elements have been significantly modified or generated digitally, but it doesn't say it used AI, and they are kind of required to say that.
Ah.
And the guy in the description says that he's just revealing faces and use multiple techniques to achieve the final effect, but he doesn't mention anything of AI. Good.
How about
I got a timeout. I was just sitting idle in Seoul, and I just got a timeout. What a lovely thing to happen. Connecting to the account server, please wait.
Okay.
Let me guess, I'm getting the weekly disconnection in which I can
we
go
will
back
wait
up
for
to
you
15 minutes.
Actually, you know what? This would be a great moment. Satalia, it lets you and I zip off to the Undine battle zone while we're waiting for Chris to come back in.
No, I'm actually back.
Oh, you're back. Okay. Well, we're still going to go to the Undine battle zone, but we'll drag you with us.
I don't mind going to the Undine battle zone.
Okay.
Right over the Vault battle zone in the day.
Yeah. Undine battle zone, away! Let us go.
That's incredible seeing people who are like alive 113 or like more years ago and see them move. Those old school hairstyles, clothing.
Satalia, you must come to the Undine battle zone with us if you want your Undine ships. Excuse me.
Oh, I'm already there. Why?
I know
why
you are.
Slacking? Why are you slacking?
I'm not slacking.
Yes, you are. You're not here. Oh, there you are.
But if she's not with us, she doesn't get her Undine ships.
Well, that's on her, isn't it?
Yes, it is. The Undine battle zone, that would be in Sphere Space, which is a transwarp, should be at the bottom of the list. And once you get there, click the Space battle zone. It's in the Dyson Sphere, Solanae Dyson Sphere, right by New Romulus. But you don't need to go there, you can just hit the transwarp. So I was getting my passport applied for the other day, and the woman who was helping me do all of it was also trying to talk a co-worker at a different location through how to put a cash deposit into the vault for the bank. And it's because it's the government, it's, well, you need this page in triplicate, then you need to put that stamp in this place. And she's having to try and talk her through it from memory. And I'm just like, I'm impressed. I can't do that. I can barely talk to you guys, and I do this every day.
Yeah.
Well, Satalia's here. Let us go. Oh. Well, the only thing... this is going to hit Planet Killers in just a second, which isn't going to help us. Nope, that just hit the. Let us see if there's another instance open.
Oh no, we got into the. No, there isn't, and we get the hot face for like
There's
5
no
minutes. I wanna
Undine.
die.
Grumble, grumble.
Curse this stupid battle zone.
And it's all Voth. It gives you the option.
Why
It's
did they even think about bringing Voth here? They have their own battle zone. I wish I could silence this man because he's
tell you
really
what. We're
annoying.
all here, right? We're all in this thing.
We can
I'm gonna queue
launch
us.
other things and here wait here
Yeah,
to
exactly. I'm
warp
gonna
in and
launch
out.
Swarm while we wait for that.
Like Christ. And it's gonna take 5 minutes for them to finish with the Voth.
Yeah, and then it's a 3-minute reset. So in the meantime, we should be able to get Swarm
Oh
done.
God, kill me now.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to get Swarm. I'm working on this. I'm working on it.
You ever wonder looking at pictures like, you know, first video camera shots of something that happened 100 plus years ago? How would you find yourself in that kind of reality? Life was so different then. It wasn't, but it was. Culture of everything was so much changed.
Lexer's had some interesting suggestions like killing 10 Breen, ground or space.
We have nothing with Breen. I'm still salty that we don't have very little Breen. Like, we have them as enemies, but how many things do you have with them actually happening as enemies?
Well, there's the 5 Cold War episodes. Weeboo?
Yeah, no TFOs. We were no no TFOs, no patrols with them.
Yeah,
So
no,
weird.
I agree. We could get some more Breen in there. We used to have more Breen.
Yeah, they kind of kicked a lot of
Davidians.
stuff.
Now that we've got
Yeah,
do we ever battle Ethereans? That's not in an episode.
no.
I don't think so. Of course, we don't fight Zenkethi. That's not in an episode either.
Mm, no, we do have Zenkethi front,
I'm thinking
ground.
ground.
No, there isn't.
Yeah.
Not a patrol, nothing that's just non-episode, yeah.
So see, there's an inspiration. They can make a patrol for all these things too.
They could just do random unrelated patrols that are just like, you know, patrolling
Yeah,
the
actually, why not?
blah blah sector in Delta Quadrant and you run into random enemies from the Delta Quadrant. And Zenkethi would be one of the 3 that pop out most frequent or something.
Or Mokai. I mean, there's enough with Mokai.
No, kill Mokai, destroy them, annihilate them from the game. I don't want to ever engage the Mokai. Unless they sit still, don't fire back, and they just die. And every other scenario, I don't want to see Mokai ever again. There's too much stuff with the Mokai, to be honest. Like, they've dominated many patrols.
Yeah, well, there's too
And
many.
they're not even in the right timeline anyway.
There's too many things
Come
with
with
the
those ugly Discovery ships.
Borg, actually, too. It's disproportionate. I mean, we all like the
But
Borg,
Borg
but
is justified because Borg has dominated quite a lot of Star Trek at a certain time.
I agree with that. I'm just saying for
And it's just
TFOs, it's
reflecting.
disproportionate.
Oh yeah, that's true. Even different versions of the Borg, they still just more of the same.
Well, even if they were to do complete one Delta Patrol or complete one, one Delta Patrol, something like that.
Yeah, do one patrol in the Delta Quadrant. There's many of them.
And Satalia is still flying the Worf's Lucky Threesome, slightly new name.
I'm not sure if that was a lucky threesome.
Yeah, never know.
There's nothing lucky in Worf's life. He likes to be miserable.
Well done.
I'm going to camp here at this, whatever this is, satellite.
Now, how is that? Digitizer probe. Interesting. They actually glow in space.
They could even just pick an old episode that's not super difficult. Let's say, what's Enemy Mine, or Cutting the Cord. Pick an episode and add those to the rotation, and make them early enough that almost everybody would have it. Which one did we miss? Go.
No, I think I'm just going to go rid of the Quark left.
The last of the refugee ships heading down escape route Alpha. Protect them. Head to escape route Beta. Protect the refugee ships.
Apparently I got my phaser damage. Oh, what a surprise.
I got my almost got my kinetic damage, just finishing it up, and got my perks.
For reasons that we won't go into in detail, I was assisting somebody with doing their endeavor over the weekend, or with their daily. And it was a torp build. Pardon?
It's an interesting thing to say, for
Yes.
reasons I will not mention.
Yeah.
What? What?
Yeah. Somebody was just going to be gone for a day, so I helped him out. And he had a torp build that was amazing. It's delayed gratification, but when it hits, things just disappeared.
So you
It
mean the
was-
gratification if you use the melting torpedoes?
Well, if you... Well, yeah, but they still take a moment to get there versus beams, which are more, it's there and things are getting hurt. Versus the torps launch everything. Okay, now it's there and everything dies. But there was that moment of you have to wait for it to get there, which is one reason I don't do torp builds. But it was really fun.
Well, this hive melted quite quickly, and that got me my dreadnought.
What
Thank you
hive?
very much.
I don't
I've
see
done all
no
my endeavors
stinking...
in one TFI.
I don't see no stinking hives around here.
Well, that's because it melted quite quickly.
I didn't even hear him say it was coming on. The agony thing he does deal phaser. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got agony, partially agony built here.
Ooh, and
Oh,
during summer and winter,
agony.
they should have specific endeavors related to the winter and summer events. I.e., participate in one event on Ryza. Participate in one event in the Winter Wonderland. Kill
Yeah,
40
that can
snowboards.
suffer.
Protect the refugee ships.
I already have a huge issue with the winter events and summer events. I mean, summer event is fine because it doesn't seem to be related to any, let's just say, religious event in real life, but winter event. Ugh.
Well, it doesn't really tie to Christmas. It just ties to winter. Trying to think what ties to...
It would if it didn't have presents and Christmas trees.
Well, why, are there Christmas trees in there?
We're speeding up the
There's pine trees.
All lanes will be utilized
Decorated
now.
pine trees. So,
Are the trees decorated? Oh, like gingerbread cookies. Yeah, you're right.
Earth ships spotted at
Yeah,
escape
gingerbread
route Gamma.
people,
Get over
gingerbread
there.
houses. Just literally screaming Christmas all over. And I really hate that because, if anything, Star Trek never touched any religious things from
Except they
Earth.
did have stuff about Christmas in Generations.
Did they?
Yeah, don't you remember when Picard goes back
No.
in the Nexus and he's having Christmas dinner with his family and they're looking at the tree that's decorated and he sees the one ornament that brings him back to being, or to Guinan, and he realizes that he needs to go back.
Well, okay, but that was something like from his private life drawn out. Right, it was his private
Yes,
celebration.
but
It
I
wasn't
mean,
like
we do.
the crew celebrated. You know what I mean? Like
I
it
get
wasn't
that,
anything that.
but I'm not going to push it so
And I
far
will
that
make it a
Ginger.
threesome.
Protect the refugee ships.
But we're only going to get half of it. Okay, but
I didn't hear anything.
Oh, and
Protect them.
Meeson joined us with Worf's comment about, and I will make it a threesome.
Hello.
Good morning, Meeson.
Are they?
Make make Q transmogrify you X number of times in the winter event. Yes, that would be fun.
Oh, that would be cool.
Yeah.
I sometimes wonder about these silly little tests online. You know those, right? You get a questionnaire and they roll out your type of personality,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So I saw one. I'm like, I'm gonna fill that out. And then at some point after the questionnaire, they ask you, do you fill this out truthfully and unironically? And then it's either yes, no, or yes, and I'd like to answer 18 more questions. So I'm like, oh, 18 more questions? Let's see what that's about. Each and every single one started off with the words, politically speaking, would you? And I'm like, and then a couple of like, how old are you? What's your gender? What's your like living
Situation.
space? And I'm like, they're just trying to find out what people's political views are.
Oh, yeah.
What is that?
Of course they are. Good morning, Huzzah, and Huzzah has called us spacefarers, which is fine, except I misread that as space farriers. And I'm thinking, that's niche, but okay. Then my brain goes to Star Wars and the stupid horses.
What stupid horses.
In one of the movies, they have horses riding on, or
Get over there.
running across the hull of one of the ships.
Oh, yeah, they did.
Hence, my brain does
That was
space
dumb.
farriers.
That was dumb.
You think?
Occasionally.
Did we miss one? Come on, where is it?
It's just funny how the tone of the test really shifted when I decided to answer more questions.
No, you asked for it.
Well, you did tell them you were being honest. That was your first mistake. Come on, where is it?
Well, after that, I just answered everything with don't want to tell, refuse to answer.
That's
you
everyone.
know,
There we go.
We did.
just, but
Well, if you're answering everything honestly, but you're lying about it, and they ask if you're answering it honestly and you lie about that.
well, it's not that I lie about it. It's like I take a personality test, which starts off like a normal personality test. The moment they ask, would you, did you answer this honestly, and would you, like, give more information for a more accurate result? I'm like, sure. But then the entire tone of the test shifts to asking questions that are really nothing to do with your relationship statuses or anything.
Hang on a second,
The
Houston.
personality or whatever.
Satalia, come here into the battle zone, because we've got Undine for you, but you have to be up here for us.
It's like the second half of the test felt like it was about something completely different. And that tonal shift just It just blew my mind. It's like,
There you go.
is the second half why they made this test?
Yeah, it is. And if we go to the, yeah, if we go any place, just tell us where you want to go and we'll go shoot things. Where are you at, Chris? There you are. Tell you what, let's go up to the, let's go to the 5 o'clock position. We should be able to get those pretty easily there.
I wonder how many people got tricked into giving them too much personal information
Oh,
that way.
a lot.
Too many.
You know, the kind of information you should never tell anyone on the internet.
Yeah, like your political views.
Mm-hmm.
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
Meanwhile, we have presidential election coming in 2 weeks.
Oh, do you?
10 days from now, 11,
Oh.
something like. It had a very interesting turnaround. Because you know they're rallying, they're debating, they're talking about promises they can't keep. They're completely forgetting about the presidential mandate in our country, which president really doesn't do much here. Like he just signs the bills, which he has the final say. It's like the third political body here, so he just kind of has a final say after it goes through Senate and the main Parliament office proceedings. It needs to be approved by the president, and that's it. He really just cuts the cords and opens stuff and represents the country. So he doesn't do much, like compared to the US. Wherever else, he's just really a chandelier holder. But that was intentional. So no piece of the three political bodies can do too much, like in terms of like overturning stuff and overruling things. But one of the candidates has just turned out to be one of the probably worst choices ever, and it's too late to like swap him out.
Yep.
I mean, there's been some stuff coming up, like he's been in weird circles, kind of semi-criminal circles.
Oh, lovely.
That came out very early in like the campaign, but he managed to like say that, oh, you know, I'm a charitable person, I'm like helping people turn around their lives, blah blah. He really doesn't. You can smell BS in like a mile, but still, like, you know, you can really lie yourself out of that one. But now he was opposed to a legislation that was supposed to like prevent people from holding too many apartments and profiting from it, like living off of it.
Yeah.
Because it's beginning to become a problem on the market, like that people don't have places to live or to renting a place is just really hard, and that's everywhere after COVID. Like you go to the UK and it's the same thing with landlords, and probably same thing as in the US. So it's kind of ridiculous that he said he would be against any way of restricting people. He says that as a single apartment owner, I'm against it. And then one of the news outlets has found out that he actually secretly owns a second apartment.
Yep.
And he owns it in a very dubious way by promising an old man in his 80s that he's gonna help him out until he passes, and then the ownership of the apartment is turned out to him, except he has not lifted the finger to help the old man. And
I'm going to interrupt real quick.
Services.
Satalia has her 10.
Oh, that's great.
So we can get out here if we want to. Lexer says, sometimes not doing anything wrong is a major feat for our elected officials. Yes. Yes, it is.
Yeah, but like this is a big stain on like they brought this candidate out of nowhere. Like no one ever heard about him like 6 months ago, maybe a little bit longer, because they've been pushing him out for a bit of longer than 6 months. But yeah, like this is ridiculous, because this is a big stain, and that's probably gonna like he was probably like the second most probable candidate to like get into the second voting, and I don't know, that might actually undermine him entirely. That's kind of laughable.
Say again, Musin?
I know a secret. It's not elected officials. it's just human beings.
Yeah, but if I've
Who-
done something wrong, I'm not going to go for political party. I mean, there's
Yeah,
people
like
out
if
there.
you
But
have
like for human beings, it is a major feat not doing something wrong.
Okay,
well, they're very apparently very incompetent in choosing someone who has not done something wrong because there's some
That is an
around.
impossibility. I do not believe that there is somebody who hasn't done something wrong
well, everybody
out of
does something wrong. It's just
selfishness or greed
or
Yeah, but
mistake.
there's
gluttony
wrong,
or
But
like
there's a
lust.
being
world of difference between something that's a stupid mistake or a small mistake or something that's wrong and then claiming
like
you've never done anything and running for political office.
yeah, like there's a fine line between oh, I was a kid and I took money from mom's
Oh,
envelope
okay,
because I wanted to
okay.
buy myself a toy that they refused to buy me,
But
and I've never like actually relapsed to being a professional thief.
it,
And I've been caught as a criminal. I've been convicted, where I'm at least surrounding myself with convicted criminals, which kind of
true.
throws a bit of shade on, like, who am I surrounding myself with? And I'm then suddenly running to an elected official, and I'll be deciding on legislation that determines who's going to jail and who's not. Like, literally, that kind of thing. There's a fine line between those two things.
Yeah, but it makes no difference on which side of the line you are. Humans are susceptible to the same
I'm.
vices, all of
You're
us.
making, there are no
Yeah.
perfect people. No one says there are, and
And that's what I mean. There's
Yeah, but
it always
the
boils
point here,
down to
Musin, is yes, we're all human, we're all fallible. But if you've done something egregious, don't go running for political office claiming you haven't.
yeah,
I'm just I'm just saying and trying to say it all boils down to a certain number of sins that are at the root of every mistake every person in the
There's
world
no
makes.
such thing as a sin.
sin is a construct that like humans made up. There is no such thing as sin. Um, sin is a good excuse, but yeah.
Does
I mean,
anybody
I've never
need
done
the
something criminal,
does
so
anybody need the event?
I do, unfortunately.
Citalia, do you need the event? Musin, do you need the event? Lexers, do you need the event?
Uh, oh, no, not right now. I have to do that later.
Okay.
Yeah,
Citalia?
so I've done nothing criminal ever, and
Oh, I stole candy from a store when I was a little kid. I did. Okay, I'm gonna kick you out of there then, Citalia.
For me, it was comic books.
but were you accountable for that? Like candy,
I
like
don't.
stealing candy as a 3-year-old, I don't think you can be
I was 5. I knew
liable
better.
to, or like 5. You knew better, but you know they can't do
Yeah,
much about that. Like the law says you can't be
I was a little older, and it was
made
comic
accountable.
books, and that was just because I couldn't afford to buy all the comics.
Wee woo, Chris?
We have a weeboo.
So what I did is I bought the imported ones from
Mm-hmm.
America, but the ones that were printed for sale in my country and usually were in Dutch
Mm-hmm.
mostly. I, those I just like take.
You have to go to Kabali in the Delta Quadrant, Citalia. And that means that you have to have done at least part of the. Oh, I can't do that one. I'll go to this one. There's a 5 over there if anybody's got firepower. I don't. Admittedly, it's an easy 5, but you have to have done the Delta Quadrant Kabali in order to be able to go there.
But yeah.
Speaking about comic books, I very lately, I was very late on the. I mean, I never actually gone into the comic book game, but there was a huge difference between locally printed comic books and those which were printed originally in their countries.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I happened to stumble upon a few comic books that apparently they had publishing here in Poland back in the early 2000s. That line of comics is no longer published because it was old Tomb Raider stuff that no longer exists, but apparently Tomb Raider had comic books.
Yeah.
And the quality of the paper and the print
Mm-hmm.
that was done locally was done on matte paper, very poor recycled paper. The quality of the print was so bad that it smeared under your fingers.
Yeah.
And then I got the same comic that was printed in the UK. Shiny, clean, nicely smelling paper. The print, you could smear your hands all over it, nothing. It was glittery. Nice quality. Same format, but I was astonished how cheaply our side was looking.
It's
That's such
interesting you
shame.
say that because when I used to work with a
And
company in Germany, they went to mandated X percentage of recycled materials in their paper. And the same thing happened. The quality of the paper was terrible. The quality of the printing, because the paper was terrible, was terrible. And for it's Germany, we expect high quality, and it wasn't happening. And my son and I
oh,
still joke about German paper.
Yeah, German steel's a different matter, though.
Pardon?
German steel?
Oh, German steel. It's interesting. Yes, that's
Yeah,
actually
that's quality, but like German paper, yeah, then I'd laugh.
yeah. A lot of things are high end quality in Germany. Paper, not so much.
yeah. I never actually
Yeah.
used
Oh,
the paper, so I couldn't tell. But I do know that they are um very strict on the ecological recycle part of side of
Mm-hmm.
things. They recycle religiously.
Yes, they do.
Like there are places like stores that have special recycle vending machines
Yep.
when you put the plastic bottles in or like plastic stuff that is recyclable and they get receipts for it
Oh yeah.
and they get money from it
Yep.
or discounts at the store.
Yeah.
And they will never like if you go to Germany and you throw a bottle into a trash bin on the street, they will crucify you. They will shun you, they will never talk to you again.
yeah,
And if you're staying with someone, don't ever like collect it and then always prepare it for like returning to the recycling thing because if you don't, they will never have you again over.
that,
This
that
is like
reminds me of what I
blasphemy for
saw
them.
yesterday. There were two kids at the bottle machine at the supermarket
Yeah.
who had gone around collecting cans,
Mm-hmm.
and they
Yep.
had a garbage bag full of
Oh
them.
yeah. Oh.
Yep.
And instead of like putting the cans in normal, they were
Mm-hmm.
just like ripping the garbage bag apart
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
and just stuffing the cans in wrong end first, so that if the cans go down the line, they all end up upside down, leaking all their
Oh, lovely.
fluid into the machinery. Yeah,
Oh,
Congratulations.
I'm like,
nasty.
and it's not like they did it on purpose. They were just not paying attention, just
Yeah.
chucking the cans
There
in
is
there,
that.
going like, money, 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 money. They had like $20 of cans.
Back in the day, we would have a truck that would come to the local grocery store once a week, and you could bring in all your aluminum cans. So my mom, because she was retired, and not that she needed the money, but she didn't have anything else to do, would walk around in the parks and pick up the cans, and she would take huge grocery bags filled with them. But all they did was wait it out. Okay, that's 12 pounds of aluminum. You get this amount of money.
Yeah. Over here, we have to put individual cans into the machine, just like bottles with
Well, yeah, but
money
that's
on
because
them.
it's a machine,
And
and
you-
this was just massive truck with scale.
yeah,
Yeah.
I prefer that method too for things like cans, because then you can crush the
Yeah.
cans and they take up less space.
Yep, and they would do that there on site. They had the crusher there and everything.
Yeah,
And
no, I know a lot of people who spend money on a can crusher.
Mhm.
But now you can't crush the cans because then you make them worthless.
Well,
So
for your
they
purposes,
they
yes.
all have these can crushing machines that then are completely useless now.
I'm sure there is a purpose and reason because they probably need to be cleaned first, and they can be properly cleaned if they're compacted because you've
Yeah,
crushed the cans. Before recycling, they need to be fully cleaned up, scrubbed
Yeah, but it's
from
part of the
prints
recycling
if
yeah.
there's
process too, though.
anything.
They
Yeah,
I, I I think they heat it up so that the adhesive on the top like comes undone, and then they can just rinse that out, and they
yeah, and
I
like
it's
assume
easier.
your cans have got some
separate
sort
the
of
can from
material
the
that
top.
lines the interior as well. That needs to get
Yeah,
purged.
yeah,
Yeah.
and the machine it's done automatically, but if the can is contracted because you crushed it, someone has to actually cut them out manually in some way, and that just adds work, and that's just takes effort and isn't paying off. There's an account, I don't know, Mom, if you run into it on TikTok. There's a British guy who moves to Germany to his girlfriend, and he lives there. Liam Carpenter.
I don't know it.
Um, he has the most hilarious clips on the differences between outsiders from Germany interacting with the German culture, including the recycling stuff. Like making a big like. There was a sketch not long ago that I just absolutely watched in the loop for like 10 minutes laughing like an idiot. Because he plays all the characters in his sketches and uses some sort of filters to like present himself as an old man, present himself as a young woman with a child on his arm, on her arms. And they come and they realize that the recycling machine is out of order, and an old German guy is like fading away because he loses the will to live, like in Star Wars. It's a hilarious thing.
Yes,
But
Italia, I
then,
did see the Badger video. Thank you.
but then suddenly the machine comes alive and he rises like Jesus. Just dying laughing. Absolutely hilarious. But he does these with this little funny twist, and they're never like blasphemes or anything like it, but they're just absolutely hilarious.
Speaking of people who do the entire video with themselves as all the characters, but they change them,
Yeah.
which is pretty good. Most of them are very funny, but there's a new couple of them coming out here where the actress is playing all the roles and she doesn't change her appearance between them.
Okay.
And it's like, huh? Who? What? But you were
You have
just
to keep
saying
up. Who's
this?
this? Yeah.
Some of them are good. If you haven't seen Bistro Huddy is pretty good. It's
Doesn't ring a bell.
Bistro Huddy is South U.S. and it's a little pub type place. And one guy plays the owner, the waiter, the waitresses, the busboys, the chefs, all of them, and all of the restaurant patrons.
Oh.
It's very American, but it's also very much the restaurant experience here.
Right.
Annoying.
That sounds intriguing.
It is, but now
Probably
he's got.
some Karens popping up.
Oh, yeah.
But
But he keeps adding to it. So it started out as pretty cute, and now it's this whole, you
Whole
know,
thing going
the head waiter or the old bartender from a decade ago has come back, and she's like the motherly type, except occasionally hits on people, calls everybody dear and sweetie. Then there's the sexy
Aw.
bartender who all the women love and some of the men love. Then you've got the romance between one of the chefs and one of the waitresses.
Oh my god, there's an entire storyline going on.
Oh
I
yeah,
love
no.
it.
And it doesn't go from episode. Well, it sometimes does go from episode to episode, but it's always about restaurants, the culture of sharing tips, pooling tips, things like that. And
Oh yeah, over there is a big thing about tips, isn't it? Like
Oh
this
yeah.
is half of the earning for
Yeah.
the waiters and
Well,
waitresses.
generally, waiters and waitresses earn the bare minimum allowed by state. It's not minimum wage. Let's say minimum wage is $15 an hour. If you work in a place where you get a tip, they can pay you as little as $2 an hour because they'll assume you'll make up
That's
the difference in tips. That's an assumption.
that's terrible.
It
Like
is.
this doesn't work here. Like Jesus.
You
Tip is
get
something absolutely optional if there was nothing special happening, like the waiter or waitress didn't do extra mile. There
yeah.
is no like obligation to leave a tip in Europe. Like at least in the countries I've been to, no one ever took offense if they never got a tip. And I mean, there are some restaurants that are kind of like trying to like force it out. I
Mm-hmm.
remember there's Kitchen Nightmares, right?
I've heard of it. I've
Um,
not actually seen it.
yeah. Well, we had our own edition made by a local, let's just say, restaurant personality.
Mm-hmm.
She's not really a cook. She's not really a chef, but she has owned restaurants through initially her husband, who she later divorced, but she stayed in the business and she has several restaurants all over the country, which are like labeled with her name. She knows of cooking and she's not incompetent, but it's more about a show than anything else. And then she opened a restaurant in my town.
Oh.
And it was a big deal because she opened three of them at the same time, and
Mm.
one was themed Italian style, so it was very much Italian ingredients, Italian pizza, Italian pasta, very much high emphasis on the Italian experience.
Mm-hmm.
So you were supposed to taste it like you would be in Rome or Napoli or wherever. Um, and then there was one with traditional Polish food, and there was one with was like a quick sandwich bar or something like it. And they were all in the same area. Like, it was a mall area that was transformed from an old factory. It was a huge factory complex. It had its own rail station. So when it was transitioned, using the old factory buildings into an entertainment center, which has three museums, a theater, a mall, a cinema. It really became like an entertainment center in the city. And when she opened it up, it was a big deal because she was already a name attached to the Kitchen Nightmares,
Mm-hmm.
and then she was transforming restaurants into something really, really great.
Yeah.
Or at least allegedly, because
Okay.
not all of them managed to actually implement her changes, and well, they fell down and just flopped. But most of the time on their own, they were either cheap or they just didn't care or they wanted to do something on their own. They just needed a media attention boost that would
Mm-hmm.
bring more people into them, and then they did their own thing, and that flopped because they didn't listen to the advice. Because it's not like she's coming up with all the ideas. There's an entire team of people who are working on the transformation of the restaurant. How
Sure.
can it economically thrive in the region, locally, with what kind of cuisine, what sort of menu should they have? It's not like she sits there and she plans it all out. Obviously, there's an entire system behind it. And I was curious about, okay, how much are you taking your own advice in your own restaurants?
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, it was just a kind of franchise thing. It wasn't like she really owns them. She just gets a cut out of their income, but they do their own thing. It has its own owners, and
Oh,
they
that makes
try
sense.
to introduce their own kind of this thing that like the tips are counted as a percentage of the check. So you'd be like paying extra 12% on top of the check,
Mm-hmm.
which was considered a tip, and it wasn't optional. You were forced to pay that.
Wow.
And I had the most terrible experience there because I came. It was 2 weeks after it opened, so they should be on their toes, right? For the first few months at least,
You
so
would hope,
everything
yes.
worked. You would hope. Meanwhile, I come in there. I sit there for 30 minutes, and the whole thing is almost half empty. Not half empty. There's three people inside as customers, and it's a big place, so the waiters. It's not like they were busy, and the kitchen staff wasn't overloaded with work. It was in the middle of the week. It was the middle of the day. I just had a day off, and I just took an opportunity to just come in and have traditional pierogies.
Mm-hmm.
I was curious how they do them over there, and I have nothing against the food. The food was exquisite. It was done on the spot, so it wasn't like they pulled out frozen pierogies and they just boiled them up. No, it was all done on site, so they had to like prepare everything. But I waited 30 minutes for someone to approach me, and the waiter approached me. He asked if whether someone already has taken my order, and I'm like, "Are you kidding me? I'm sitting here for 30 minutes if I didn't get a card. I didn't get the menu." I was like, "Oh, why someone will come then?" I waited 20 more minutes to get a
Oh, I would have
menu.
been gone a long time before that. I don't care how good
Yeah,
a restaurant is.
I mean, normally I would, but I was like willing to sit this through to have a final verdict, you know?
Okay.
And yeah, I waited another 20 minutes for the order to come in.
Mm-hmm.
So if you sum it up, I spent there over 2 hours
Oh, no, 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 no.
for a single serving. And on top of that, I was forced to pay the tip, and I was so fuming at the end. I didn't give them a good review.
There is
They
a...
never like responded to it, but that was absolutely terrible. 2 weeks after opening, no, that won't slide. There were no napkins.
Oh,
Took away. I had nothing to like wipe my face with, or like wipe my hands with. Nothing.
yeah.
That was absolutely atrocious. And I was
I,
like,
I,
okay, I get it.
I would
I
have
know it's a
wished them
franchise,
good
but
luck at making me pay.
No, you have to pay,
what?
otherwise they can call the police. I mean, you accepted food.
Yeah. No,
No, you
yes,
can't
but
weasel
like,
yourself out of that
I,
one. It's something that is embedded into their cash register that just counts the percentage
Mm-hmm.
of
But then they should just
the
increase their
thing.
food prices, respectively.
Yeah, it wasn't cheap to begin with, so I wouldn't think they would have many customers with these kinds of prices
Yeah.
lifted
So
by that percentage.
there are
Still.
restaurants here that are moving away from tips. There's not a lot of them, but there's a few that are just like, hey, we pay our people a living wage. You don't have to tip here. Um, so, like the theater restaurant that we go to, the tips are built in to the cost of the food. If you want to leave more, you can, but it says up front tips are built into the cost. You don't have to tip, and we pay them a living wage. I mean, for
That's
movie
fair.
theater,
yeah.
because there's no
For
way you
movie
can.
theater, that's really good.
Over here, there's no minimum tipping percentage.
There isn't here
There's not
either.
even a requirement to tip.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people who do that kind of work are getting paid a minimum plus tips.
Yeah.
So if people don't tip them a lot, then they don't do the work. And this has caused a shift of like men not getting many tips, women getting a lot of tips.
Which is why
So
they have tip pooling here. I don't mean to be rude, but I have something I absolutely have to do this morning. I have to leave fairly soon to go do it. So, on behalf of everybody here at at the Moopsyverse, thank you for joining us today. I don't know if I'll be on tomorrow because I have class tonight. Maybe. We will see. But I'll let everybody know if we're not going to have class, or not going to have a show tomorrow morning. Thank you for being here, and as we like to say around here, stay
Moopsome.
moopsome.
Moopsy.
Sean the non-believer. Sean.
And I will make it a threesome.
Do you even hear yourself?